question I've got is, are you invested in the process of becoming more successful? Are you investing in yourself? We are going to discuss why you need to invest in the process and how to get started right now. And these things are crucially important. So tune in, and we're going to share some fantastic value here.
Welcome to the Build Business Acumen podcast, where we deliver practical knowledge and powerful guidance. Here is your futuristic host, Nathaniel Skula.
Well, I am very privileged today to be joined by Stephen J. Manning. If you don't know who he is, I will briefly introduce him. He built $1 billion marketing business, and when it comes to investing in the process, why and how to get started, he knows all about that, as do I, because we are invested in what we're doing here at Monday Influencer and all the other podcasts and writings that we do. Thank you, Stephen, for joining me. I'm looking forward to digging into this topic with you.
Thank you, Nathaniel.
So, I mean, look, before we invest in the process, we need to know where on earth we're going, right? And that's a big thing. You talk about this all the time. Every week, we help people to learn more about this and how they need to be heading in the direction that they really want to go. And so I'm going to assume that you know where you're going when you're listening to this. If you don't know where you're going, then drop us an email, drop us a message on one of these platforms where we stream this, and we'll happily send you some sort of resource to help you to take an inventory, which is what you say, take an inventory of your life, your skills, your friends, your job, everything that you have in life, financial, health, all of these things. Take an inventory and then get ready to invest in the process. Because look, if you're not investing in the process, how are you going to actually get anywhere? You're just not. So why, Steve, do people need to invest in the process?
Well, because absent that, there's nothing. It's mush. It's air. If you allow me to go backwards, it's an amazing thing that one discovers, and it's somewhat uncomfortable, that when you engage in a process toward a goal, what makes you happy is the process more so than the goal. How often is that you embark on doing something, creating something, whether it's a business or a process or technology, or you engage in a process of getting that job, or once you're in that job, getting that promotion and getting that raise. What is the psychological thing, for lack of a better word? I worked for this so hard. I did everything asked of me. I outperformed expectations. And finally, I get that job, I get that promotion, I get that raise. The euphoria lasts as long as I drive home, I share it with my mates, and I make a couple phone calls, I go to bed, and why am I depressed in the morning? Universal. Pretty universal. Some people feed off of it because if they, in fact, achieve such a quantum leap, it takes a little time to erode the euphoria. But by and large, people say, I don't know, is that it? That's it. Now I got to wait another year or two, whatever. No. It is really the process. So the investment in the process is so critical. You know, there's countless stories about people who want something so badly, and then when they get to the goal is almost academic to the process. But again, what you started out with is there's a difference between wishing and hoping and praying and anticipating, all of that soft stuff, and planning. And again, as I said in the last talk, I said, there's no point in standing in the backyard with your fist clenched, hoping that you'll be taller, richer, better looking, etc. It's in the same category as hoping the lawn will mow itself. It's not going to happen. So the point, as you started, is you must invest in the process. And by the way, again, I promise you the process will be more satisfactory than the ultimate outcome. So what does that mean? Well, okay, well, I wish to accomplish that. I want to do that. And then, of course, all the soft stuff. Someday I want to do that. Someday I will go there. So will acquire that someday. That to me is Swiss cheese without the cheese. Hey, it ain't going to happen by itself. This is not a dress rehearsal. So investing in the process. You're never going to get there if you don't know where the hell you're going. You're not going to get there if you know where you're going, unless you plan on how to get there. You're not going to be able to plan how to get there without understanding what that takes, resources, human and otherwise. In other words, what the heck do you have to do to take that road, to get on the roadmap to that goal? And by the way, how do you know you're getting there? So you'll be able to measure your progress along the way, celebrate your little successes, build on your failures, little ones, until you get there. If you don't invest in the process, I guarantee, unless it's a bolt of lightning or your Uncle Ralph passes away suddenly and leaves you $1 gazillion, you're not going to get there. So we talk and talk and talk and talk about doing homework. How much homework? Not enough. When you're done, you do a little more. And when you're done with that, you're unhappy because you could have done more. That's me. I'm the guy in the room who really doesn't like the outcome because I know I could have done better. But then I could also die of old age before the thing happens. How much homework? I'm a shameless researcher. I encourage you to. Now, in terms of the process, there has never in history been a better time to engage in any process, intellectual and physical, business and personal. I say that because the resources we now have are more plentiful, more attainable, and easier to use than we have now. Good God, man. I can go to Copilot or ChatGPT and ask them how I'm feeling, how I am feeling. Heck, I can ask my wife how I'm feeling, and she'll look at me and say, you may want to do some introspection on that. I promise she knows me. That's not the point. Sam Altman or the kids at Microsoft or at Google will tell me how I'm feeling. Now, they may not. What they'll actually do, and this is an interesting lesson, they will, in fact, give me a roadmap to the process. Okay, here is what you, just for the fun of it, go to Copilot and say, hey, Copilot, how am I feeling? And you're going to get back, well, hi, Steve. I'm not well equipped to tell you how you're feeling. However, you may want to consider, and here's my list of 8 things I should consider in terms of some self-evaluation. Wow. Well, I kind of knew 3, 4 of those. I didn't think about that one. Equally important is that at the end of every one of those, there's a clickable link. And unlike Google, I get to refine search to 1 or 2 things that really bring that particular point home to me. An hour into it, I think I'm going to go to med school. Or I'm off to Stanford. I'm going to get another MBA in something because I learned enough. The process. You know what? You're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to get out of bed, proverbially, if you don't engage in the process of reaching for that goal. And never in history have we had this incredible thing, this massive library and massive filing system and this really cool calculator and this really cool voice thing called the internet. I have been through the early iterations of the internet. I was there. I remember the first browser. I remember the kids at Champlain showing me the graphic user interface, Alta Vista. Wow. Of course, I also had an email address, but I didn't know anybody else that had one. I remember the process of getting to where we got to. You have a goal. And you know what? May I encourage everyone to never dismiss a dream. I always dreamed of doing this or doing that. Let me assure you, if you happen to be 5'8" and you're not one of the 10 unique people in the history of the National Basketball Association, you're not going to dunk a basketball. Now, that's a silly dream. But you can, in fact, shoot free throws better than anybody else in the league. So think about, oh, I can never dunk a basketball. Hey, I used to dunk a basketball. Right now, I look up and say, wow, that's way up there, isn't it? Well, because I'm older and my knees left. They moved south. But you can take that dream. It's dumb to just dream. No, it's fun. I mean, it's cool, but engage in the process of taking that dream to a path of something that you can, in fact, attain. Maybe a stretch, but you can attain it. You know, I am too old. My knees are too bad. I can never dunk a basketball. You know what? I bet there's a league of people my age, my height and lower, that I can join. And when I show up, they're going to look at me and say, yo, you're my grandfather's age or my father's age. Okay. So if you let me be a substitute, I can't dunk a basketball, but man, I can't play ball with the young guys. Isn't that cool? I just took a silly goal or a dream and converted it to a path to get there. Till we get something close enough that will give me the right degree of satisfaction. I always want to have a business of my own. Okay, great. Well, I don't know how to tell you this, but in the United States of America, there's 1 million new businesses every year. There are 1 million people who said, I'm going to do this. Oh, there's another 10 million who said they'd love to. And then 1 million people are actually going to do it. So you know what? I always should have a hamburger joint. Your humble scribe here dreamed of having a hamburger joint. Imagine.
I just dream of hamburgers.
Chili burger.
I just dream of hamburgers. I just dream.
You know what?
Cheeseburgers, hamburgers, chili burgers.
Hey, imagine, think about this. In the complex world we've lived in, you and me, I get to sit there and say, I don't really care whether the Teamsters are going to strike. I don't care what the prime rate is. I really don't know what the FDA, I don't care what the FTC thinks about this. I just got to make sure that the meat is fresh, the lettuce, no E. coli. Okay? And I just served the nastiest, biggest burger in town. I'm going to be a success. About this big, but I'm going to be a success. So what differentiates people who actually do it from people who dream about it? You have to invest in the process.
100%.
Can I actually open a hamburger joint? Now, I was running a $1 billion business, and I spent time and energy with a couple of really smart people that worked for us, statisticians, and we actually studied one of the more popular hamburger joints downtown LA. How does Tommy's Burgers, how do they do this? Well, we hung out for a lot of hours watching the people ordering. We were there at 4 a.m, because 24 hours a day. And eventually we created a model. How much business, we counted people, we looked at bags. How much money could they possibly make here? And we actually created a model. That's what they probably do. And I said, wow, this is a great exercise. I'm going to just stick with mass marketing to millions of people. So I think I'm better off in this. But without a doubt, I looked at it as a real possibility. Wouldn't it be cool to not have these big issues, to have limited issues, predictable business? Mm-hmm. Tommy's does very well whether it's raining or not. They're not. The world economy does not affect that chili burger. It just doesn't.
Right.
But that's a process. I invested time and energy in figuring out that process. And I satisfied myself that I didn't want to do that. And well, still to this day, some days I really would like to drive a really big semi truck. Can you imagine driving down a highway and nobody makes a left turn in front of you?
Yeah, I like that
And
a
you don't
lot.
have,
But
yeah, gas is more expensive, less expensive. Insurance
you
is more or
just
less.
you just said a lot of really useful things there that I need to just wrap up and put a bow on, if I'm honest, because I mean, if you just take a look at firstly the vision, I work from a slightly different place to you. You're all about the execution, and I seem to just start with a vision, right? And I've always found it quite hard to turn my vision into something uh, amazing, right? Because I don't know why. I mean, I think a lot of it is to do with in your mind. It's to do with actually self-sabotage with many people. That's one thing. But I think also is not having the skills to create the plan or having the people to do the execution, because actually you might be a visionary who doesn't enjoy the execution, right? But then sooner or later, if you want to achieve your dream, you have to just decide, well, actually, I have to do the execution. I'm going to put everything that I need to do into this list of things I have to do, and I'm going to do it, right? And it's so worth it, because as each day goes by, investing in that process, it basically just gives you so many abilities and skills and connections. And if you don't have the ability and you don't have the knowledge, find someone that does. And because I guarantee that there'll be skills and personality differences that you have with someone, which you can assist that person to create this dream, which funnily enough, you'll probably find both of you have a dream. And I think it makes it much more
Well,
fun as well, because you have people to work with. Because building a dream on your own, it's not that fun, if I'm brutally honest.
well,
It's
I
just
think,
not.
it's a couple things. First of all, I like to think of myself as visionary because and for a different thing, for a couple of reasons. First of all, I certainly spent a whole lot of my adult life, certainly the latter half of it, trying to skirting or trying to come up with independent thinking, which is very, very, very hard and a rare ability or opportunity. And a lot of visionaries come from perspectives that are really not really out of the ordinary. I've had some visions in my lifetime about business opportunities, which I exploited. So I think there's a couple things in vision. First, there's vision. You wake up and you have this eureka moment and you think that you can find another way to split the atom. Or you have a vision of an ice cream flavor that no one else thought of before. Of course, 99.9% of the time when we have these visions, they might be 100,000 other people already doing it. Having worked with a lot of young people, I tended to surround ourselves with a lot of young people. It's great to feed off the energy of young people. You know, they know everything, but they don't know anything. And it's the energy, the ability to absorb, and the inquisitiveness young people is very nourishing to some of us older guys. But I think that there's two aspects to vision, if you will. I promise you, I've had more than many opportunities where young people we employed come waltzing in and they can't wait for you to get in the office at 6 a.m. because they have this absolutely brilliant idea, breakthrough. And you'd have to muster up, we as a company always did that. We have to muster up a way to not say, don't know how to tell you this stuff has failed for 10 years. In our big company, in our R&D division, we had kids, year 2, 3, 4 out of school, out of college. And when they had that brilliant idea, we let them test it, spend our money. Because they had one of those every day. And you couldn't discourage them. So you sit there and say, oh, this could be very expensive. Well, you can't say no. And if they do some really dumb stuff 8 times, the 9th time they come up with something, they pay for all of that. But In terms of vision, I think that there are two aspects of vision. We all have, oh, I envision another type of whatever. And you know what? I know I can make a better hazelnut, whatever. Uh, then the other part of it is I call it recognition of opportunity. So your vision comes from you recognize an opportunity. One of the things that I talk about, speaking of pillars of success, there's a part of that that's called things I have sold. Now, if you read the things I've sold, when I start ripping through those, I just enumerate them. You know, holy water from the Holy Land, you know, stolen spy satellites above Western Europe, you know, undersea cable the Norwegians don't like. And then I get to horse manure king of South America and continue. People always stop. What do you mean horse manure? Well, I've sold more horse manure out of South America than anybody in history. I became the horse blank king of South America. That was not in my vision. Never thought myself doing that. But I read something in a magazine on the plane, and Jack sitting next to me. We're flying down to Santiago, Chile one night. And by the time we got down there, 9 hours later, by the end of the day, we were in a horse manure business worldwide. So I look at that. I promise you, I got on this plane. I was going down there with Jack. We were going to play tennis and eat too much for 4 days and come home because we all had friends and family there. A week later, I was buying all the horse manure in the whole country of Chile. And then within weeks, we had container ships full of stuff we were selling to Germany. Why? Because it so happens Germany just outlawed synthetic fertilizers. And there was a shortage of manure. Well, Jack's father-in-law had the biggest horse ranch in the continent. And instead of paying a ton of money to dump it in the ocean, he gave it to us for free. Of course, I turned around and sold it to the fine German people in all Western Europe. I see that vision as a matter of recognition of opportunity, and I'll wind this up with one thing. And I lecture people on this, God forgive me. As it relates to opportunity, entrepreneurial opportunities, etc., vision, there are two kinds of people. You drive your car and you stop at a red light. And you sit there thinking, oh gosh, I could have gone a little faster. I hope this is a short light, not one of those 2-minute lights. And what do? You fiddle with the phone, the radio. People scratch their nose because, you can't see through the windows, right? And okay, finally the light turns green. And then there's the other kind, called a visionary, called an opportunist. An opportunist sits there and says, okay, now, if this is a 2-minute light, what can I sell to these people that play with their noses and phones? I got 2 minutes. If I'm wrong, then why are there bus benches there when there are no buses? It's advertising. And, it's a bet I have made, and I'm glad to share some time with some people and say, look, recognition of opportunity. If I get in a big elevator on Avenue of Stars in New York, in one of those mammoth buildings, and I get on the express elevator that goes from 0 to 66th floor, and there are 50 people in there in the morning, if I can't sell something to 2 people, I'll pay for your plane ticket and your hotel and all your meals. But if I sell something to 2 people in there, I'm going to find the most expensive restaurants in New York, and I'm taking out a suite at the Pierre. And you're going to pay for it. It's a matter of opportunity. You recognize the opportunity. What do those people have in common? It's 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning. You look at them, read the room. All these people dressed a certain way. Why? 66 floors, JP Morgan. Anyway, you create that vision out of the opportunity. I've made that bet before. You don't want to make it. Of course, it's loaded because I can look at them and say, I know what I can sell these people. You don't want the most famous lobster club sandwich that Kenny Redsky makes for only $18 delivered to your desk at 1 o'clock? You don't want that? Of course I do. Because it takes you 6 months to get a reservation. It's loaded. But the point being that I see that as an opportunity. My vision is to sell something to 2 people in there. Then I recognize the opportunity that I have. That was my little story on vision and opportunity, recognition opportunity. No, I did not set out to sell container ships of horse manure.
But I want that club sandwich, that crab sandwich. I want that.
My friend, get on the next flight to New York. I'll find Kenny, and he will make us one.
Okay, we will talk about that. I'm up for that. I have people to visit in New York. So thank you, Stephen. Really appreciate it. Make sure you go to mondayinfluencer.com if you're already a subscriber. We love you, and reach out to us anytime with any questions, and we'll add them to our monthly Ask Us Anything, because we love you guys. So thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening. Please subscribe, and wherever you prefer, share with your friends. And if you enjoyed the show, drop us a review on iTunes or wherever you listen.